Any closing thoughts, Abram? Because I don't think we're gonna do a full discussion on this. How'd you feel about that?
Hmm. I I think it is what we should have expected,
Sure.
if that makes sense. For me personally, for me truly, for in my heart of hearts, I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I'm very excited just because I love Kirby. I'm a big fan of racing games, local multiplayer games, all up my alley. As I was saying sort of throughout the discussion, I'm not crazy about Kirby Air Ride, the original. I
Yeah.
think it had a lot of room to grow. I think it was a lot of
Mm.
ideas that got halfway to their potential.
Yeah. Because it was made
And
in
so
like half a year.
exactly. And so if the intent of this game is to basically take the bones of that game
Yeah.
and flesh them out, and that's the scope, that's the mission statement. I think that's cool. I don't think it's as exciting as if it was something more revolutionary
Yeah.
or more meaningfully different from the original. This seems like the sort of game that will replace the original, opposed to sort of stand and
Definitely.
complement it.
Yeah.
Um, and that's like we're saying, it's sort of always been Sakurai's MO with Smash Brothers. Obviously, that's not necessarily true in practice, but it's very clear that each is
Yeah.
iterating and becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and in my view, also better.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is Kirby Air Ride. They're making a bigger Kirby Air Ride, and I'm happy with that. But I would be surprised if the sentiment about this game online is all that positive
Oh,
right now.
yeah. Because what's
Or
most
not.
interesting to me about it is that it feels like this is the kind of sequel that would come out 2 years after, right? This is
Mm,
the Wii version
mm.
of Air Ride that never came out, where it's like it really is not that much different. Wii's not that much more powerful than the GameCube.
Yeah.
It doesn't add a ton of big new modes. It's polishing up a couple of the mechanics, but really tightening up what's there. But it's actually 20 years later on a console that's 20
Yeah.
times as powerful. Um, and that's what's most peculiar to me. Now, I will say that tease at the end, and also the idea that that little icon thing is something that we haven't seen what it's from yet in the
Hmm.
game, does to me potentially indicate that there is more to this game than we expect. And frankly, because it's coming out in November, I wouldn't be surprised if there's another like 20-30 minute little showcase about this, what the actual
Yeah.
new stuff is, because this really to me felt, especially because they didn't even go over some of the modes that were in the original game, which I don't really understand why they would not include. This felt to me like, and maybe this is just me hoping for a more expansive project than what we've seen in these last 45 minutes,
Yeah.
that there is a secondary layer to this game that is that next level that makes it feel like frankly, a real sequel, right? Or at least a real successor. Because I would say that these two games, other than visuals, might be two of the most similar Nintendo games we've seen. Um,
Well, maybe. I mean, because it's also we got to think about the feel of it.
yeah,
There's clearly a lot. What I felt was being communicated is that the experience of playing this game is going to be different,
yeah,
and I think that does count for something.
sure, yeah, of course.
And again, it is very Smash Brothers like.
Mm,
You put Smash Ultimate and Smash Wii U next to each other
yeah.
and give them to your average person. That's going to look like kind
Oh,
of the
totally.
same game,
Yeah, yeah, of
but
course.
that game feels entirely different to
Yeah,
play. And then it's got all sorts of bells and whistles, but most importantly, at the core, there's a different feel. And I think Sakurai cares about that. He's a
yeah.
fighting game director, above all.
Well, here's what's interesting, actually. What we
Yeah.
didn't see here today was the bells and whistles. I think that is why I think this
Yeah.
felt a little bit odd in comparison to something um, I guess the later Smash Ultimate like singular presentations. Um,
Yeah.
this was more about describing what the game is, rather than like on its very base level, rather than what the scope of the project is. This was a deep dive into the two main modes, two of either two or more.
I think,
But
yeah.
but there was no. We didn't see the main menu, so we didn't even get like a hint of like what World of Light was in Smash Ultimate. I guess we
Yeah.
might have with that last cutscene. I don't know, but there wasn't a collection. There wasn't little mini games, side modes. We didn't see that, and so, which to me, that's what feels off. That's what feels what's missing. Is to me a Sakurai game is his special sauce on top of it is the fact that he does include these side modes and collectibles and little things to chase, little fun extra mini games that are spins on the core gameplay. We didn't see that today, and so I think that's coming. I think that we still have time to see this, because this is the second marketing beat for this game. People are going to play the core game mode. We're going to get some hands-on impressions, but I think in October, Sakurai Presents Kirby Air Ride Part 2 is on the way, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's clearly signaling that there's something. It even seems like it might be signaling a story mode or something. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, we'll just wait and see.
Yeah.
So, cool show.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. It was very fun. My primary feeling here was that it is Kirby Air Ride X Smash Ultimate. Like the two games are just intersecting in terms of aesthetic and design choices and everything. Like, this is very it's built off of the two bones of two games that he previously worked on, and so that was fun for me as someone who has played these games, being like, oh hey, look, he's very clearly in his bag with this one.
It's the same as like a lot of the food from Smash Brawl is in Kid Icarus Uprising.
Oh, that's true.
Obviously, the character design, the whole narrative situation, all this shit of what Kid Icarus and his characters became in Uprising were from Brawl. It's again, two more games and conversations. The way it works. So yeah, I'm excited, but I wouldn't say I'm more or less excited than I was before.
No, it's actually very interesting to get a 45-minute breakdown, which I believe is maybe outside of Smash, the longest single game presentation Nintendo has done. In a deep dive like this, and come away feeling like there was actually not that much new that we learned. Choosable characters, the different kinds of vehicles, nitty gritty stuff in terms of control and in terms of the different kinds of stadiums at the end of City Trial. But City Trial seems pretty similar, and the races seem pretty similar. It's mostly control and the character customization that was actually the new stuff. So I think that also probably why this felt a little bit weird to me is I was waiting for the moment where it would pick up. I was waiting for the moment where I'd be surprised by something in the showcase or invested by what this game was doing on a larger level than what the first game did, which again, as you mentioned, I don't really like that first game, and even though you like it, it's not one of your favorites, and so I was waiting for there to be this is why a sequel was even frankly necessary, as opposed to, I mean, even just like a Kirby Air Rider HD, right? Like just polishing up the game visually and put it with online and putting it on. So like you could sell that for $40. But we didn't really see that today, which I thought was interesting.
I just think it goes back to A, this is how Sakurai works. He's iterative, and B, Air Rider was not a popular Air Ride. Sorry, it's not Air Rider. It's Air Ride. It was not a popular game on GameCube.
Yeah.
So he's introducing this to people for the first time.
Yeah.
People don't understand what City Trial is, or the average current Nintendo fan probably doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of novelty to this. So I understand that. So I just think that I think it was a miscalibrated expectation in part that Sakurai was going to come out here and show something that we'd never seen before at a Kirby Air Ride. And again, as you're saying, he might still yet.
He might.
But we didn't know fuck all about the game before an hour ago, right? So.
Yeah, and now we've seen 40 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Sakurai, for presenting this directly to us. And thanks everyone for watching.
Yay.